Hi, welcome to Bible Buddy, and today we are reading for day number 261. Let's pray. Father, as we read your word, help us to trust your will and follow your commandments. Father, you give us peace when we draw close to you. You are the giver of all things good. Help us to accept your peace today in our ways. Amen. Okay, so yesterday we left off at Jeremiah 52, verse 16. So today, we're going to pick up Jeremiah 52, verse 17. Also the pillars of brass that were in the house of the Lord, and the bases, and the brazen sea that was in the house of the Lord, the Chaldeans carried away all the brass of them to Babylon, the cauldrons also, and the shovels, and the snuffers, and the bowls, and the spoons, and all the vessels of the brass wherewith they ministered took they away, and the basins, and the fire pans, and the bowls, and the cauldrons, and the candlesticks, and the spoons, and the cups, that which was the gold, and that which was in the silver of silver and silver, took the captain of the guard away, the 2 pillars, 1 seat, and 12 brazen bowls that were under the braces, which King Solomon had made in the house of the Lord, the brass of all these vessels without weight. And concerning the pillars, the height of 1 pillar was 18 cubits, and a fillet of 12 cubits did compass it, and the thickness thereof was 4 fingers, it was hollow, and a chapiter of brass was upon it, and the height of 1 chapiter was 5 cubits, with network and pomegranates upon the chapiters round about, all of brass. The 2nd pillar was also the pomegranates were like unto these. There were 96 pomegranates on the side, and all the pomegranates upon the network were 100 round about. And the captain of the guard took Seraiah the chief priest, and Zephaniah the 2nd priest, and the 3 keepers of the door. And he took also out of the city an eunuch, which had the charge of men of war, and 7 men of them that were near the king's person, which were found in the city, and the principal scribe of the host, who mustered the people of the land, and the 60 men of people of the land that were found in the midst of the city. So Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, took them and brought them to the king of Babylon to Riblah. And the king of Babylon smote them, and put them to death in Riblah, in the land of Hamath. Thus Judah was carried away captive out of his own land. This is the people whom Nebuchadrezzar carried away captive in the 7th year, 3,000 Jews and 23. In the 18th year, Nebuchadrezzar, he carried away captive of Jerusalem 832 persons. And in the 23rd year of Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away captive of the Jews 745 persons. All the persons were 4,600. And it came to pass in the 30th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim king of Judah, in the 12th month, and in the 25th day of the month, that Merodach, king of Babylon, in the 1st year of his reign, lifted up the head of Jehoiakim king of Judah, and brought him forth out of prison, and spake kindly unto him, and set his throne above the throne of kings that were with him in Babylon, and changed his prison garments, and did continually eat bread before him all the days of his life. And for his diet there was continual diet given him of the king of Babylon every day a portion until the day of his death, or the days of his life. Lamentations chapter 1. How doth the city sit solitary, that was full of people? How is she become as a widow, she that was great among the nations, and princess among the provinces? How is she become tributary? She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks. Among all her lovers she hath none to comfort her. All her friends she had dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction, and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen, and findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the straits. The way of Zion do mourn, because none come to the solemn feast. All her gates are desolate, and all her priests sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Her adversaries are the chief, and her enemies prosper. For the Lord had afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy, and from the daughter of Zion all her beauty is departed. Her princes are become like harts that find no pasture, and they are gone without strength before the pursuer. Jerusalem remembered in the days of her affliction, and of her miseries all her pleasant things that she had in the days of old. when her people fell upon the hand of the enemy, and none did help her. The adversaries saw her and did mock at her Sabbaths. Jerusalem hath grievously sinned, therefore she is removed. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness. Yea, she sighed and turned backward. Her filthiness is in her skirts. She remembered not her last end. Therefore she came down wonderfully. She hath no comforter, O Lord. Behold my affliction, for the enemy hath magnified himself. The adversary hath spread out his hand upon all her pleasant things. For she hath seen that the heathen entered into her sanctuary, whom thou didst command that they should not enter into thy congregation. All her people sigh, they seek bread, they have given her pleasant things, for meat to relieve the soul. See, O Lord, and consider, for I am become vile. Is it nothing to you, all ye that pass by? Behold, and see if there is any sorrow like unto my sorrow, which is done unto me, wherewith the Lord hath afflicted me in the days of his anger. From above hath he sent fire into my bones, and it prevaileth against him. And he hath spread a net for my feet, and he hath turned me back, and he hath made me desolate and faint all my day. The yoke of my transgression is bound by his hand, and they are wreathed, and come up upon my neck. He hath made my strength to fall. The Lord hath delivered me into their hands, from whom I am not able to rise up. The Lord hath trodden under the foot all my mighty men in the midst of me. He hath called an assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord hath trodden the virgin, the daughter of Judah, as a winepress. For these things I weep, mine eye runneth down the water, because the comforter that should relieve my soul is far from me. My children are desolate, because my enemy prevailed. Zion spreadeth forth her hands, and there is none to comfort her. The Lord hath commanded concerning Jacob, and his adversaries should be round about him. Jerusalem is a menstruous woman among them. The Lord is righteous, and I have rebelled against his commandment. Hear, I pray you, all people, and behold my sorrow. My virgins and my young men are gone into captivity. I called for my lover, but they deceived me. My priests and mine elders gave up the ghost in the city, and they have sought their meat to relieve their souls. Behold, O Lord, for I am in distress. My bowels are troubled. Mine heart is turned within me, for I have grievously rebelled. Abroad the sword be wreathed. At home there is as death. They have heard that I sigh, and there is none to comfort me. All mine enemies have heard of my trouble. They are glad that thou hast done it. Thou wilt bring that day that thou hast called, and they shall be like unto me. Let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them, and thou hast done unto me for my transgressions. For my sigh are many, and my heart is faint. How hath the Lord clothed the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven into the earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord hath swallowed up all the habitations of Jacob, and hath not pitied, and hath thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah, and he hath brought them down into the ground, and he hath polluted the kingdom of the princes thereof. He hath cutted them in his fierce anger, all the horns of Israel. He hath drawn back his right hand from them before the enemy, and he burned against Jacob like a flaming fire, which devoureth round about. He hath bent his bow like an enemy. He stood with his right hand as an adversary, and slew all that were pleasant to the eye of the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like fire. The Lord was an enemy. He hath swallowed up Israel. He hath swallowed up all her palaces. He hath destroyed his strongholds, and he hath increased in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentation. And he hath violently taken away his tabernacle, as it were of a garden, and he hath destroyed his places of the assembly. The Lord hath caused the solemn feasts and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, and hath despised the indignation of his anger, the king and the priest. The Lord hath cast off his altar. He hath abhorred his sanctuary. He hath given up into the hand of the enemy the walls of her houses, and they have made a noise in the house of the Lord, as in the day of solemn feast. The Lord hath purposed to destroy all the wall of the daughter of Zion. He hath stretched out a line. He hath not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore he made the rampart and the wall to lament. They languish together. Her gates are sunk into the ground. He hath destroyed and broken her bars. Her king and her princes are among the Gentiles. The law is no more. Her prophets also find no vision from the Lord. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit upon the ground, and they keep silence. They cast up dust upon their heads. They have girded themselves with sackcloth. The virgins of Jerusalem hang down their heads to the ground. Mine eyes do fail with tears. My bowels are troubled, my livers poured upon the earth, for the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the children of the suckling swoon in the streets of the city. They say to their mothers, where is corn and wine? When they swooned as the wounded in the streets of the city, and their soul was poured out into the mother's bosom. What thing shall I take to witness for thee? What thing shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy breach is like the sea, who can heal thee? Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity, to turn away thy captivity. But I have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment. All that pass by claps their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, Is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee, and hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, We have swallowed her up certainly. This is the day that we have looked for, and we have found, and we have seen it. The Lord hath done that which he had devised. He hath fulfilled his word, and he hath commanded in the days of the old. He hath drowned down, and hath not pitied. He hath not caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He hath set up the horn of thine adversaries. Their heart cried unto the Lord, O wall of daughters of Zion. Let tears run down like a river day and night. Give thyself no rest. Let not the apple of thine eye cease. Arise, cry out in the night, and the beginning of the watches pour out thine heart like water before the face of the Lord, and lift thy hands toward him. For the life of thy young children that faint for hunger, in the top of every street, behold, O Lord, and consider to whom thou hast done this. Shall the women eat their fruit, and children of our span long? Shall the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? The young and the old lie in the ground in the streets. My virgins and my young men are fallen by the sword. Thou hast slain them in the day of thine anger. Thou hast killed and not pitied. Thou hast called them in a solemn day of my terrors round about, so that in the day of the Lord's anger none escaped nor remained. Those that I have swallowed and brought up hath mine enemy consumed. Well, thank you so much for reading along with me, and I will see you tomorrow, and God bless.